Bam! And we are back again for a new installment. And this time we are just going to skip the intro because, my God, you guys had some great questions. We're going to answer some user questions from the world of film. And our next user question, picking up where we left off in the last podcast, is from Ahmed Ali. And all he said was 23 Jump Street. So, I mean, not sure what you were trying to imply, but I mean, in all honesty, the 21st and 22nd Jump Street, I thought were fucking hysterical, man. I think Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum, they just have great comedic timing with each other.
Yeah.
Ice Cube is a great addition. I don't know if this counts as a spoiler, but in the end credits of the second film, they sort of have like these parody and mock posters for like future Jump Street films, which I thought was funny. I mean, if they want to do the third one, I mean, go ahead, man. I love the second one. I actually thought the second one was better than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Just without getting into spoiler territory, the light bulb sequence with Channing Tatum, it just was fucking hysterical. Probably the standout part of the film. But I don't know. Thoughts on 23 Jump Street, Sam?
Yeah, for me, I really think that the first one was hilarious. I actually haven't seen the second one, but a lot of people tell me that the second one is just as funny, if not funnier than the first one.
Oh.
I mean, if it's, like I think the movie Neighbors, I wanted to see that because for whatever reason there was a chemistry melding that was working really well on a comedic level, and I think that's the reason why they're progressing into a second one. So it's like for the love of comedy that had been overrated by these terrible parodies lately. I think that it would be in the great service for them to continue like a good franchise. Because I think that The Hangover in 1 and 2 were decent, but they kind of ran over themselves by the time we got to the third one. So if they haven't milked the cattle dry with this, 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, then they should go ahead and try to see if they can make a good 23 Jump Street. But add something else into the element. Don't make it just the same rehash of the same thing.
Yeah, I guess I think that would be my only gripe is because the second one is sort of like there's some pretty strong similarities. I mean, the film it's fucking hysterical, but I mean, there are some plot similarities. So it would be kind of to see them sort of shatter that aspect with like a third film.
Yeah.
I think I would be interested in that for sure. Yeah. I think that could be cool. But we do have someone who just joined us a second ago, Jonathan Blackwing. Man, what's going on?
What's going on, fellas? Good to be here.
We
I've been
just
in the
had
chat section for the past JA news, but glad to be here.
All right, cool. We just had a user. All they said was 23 Jump Street. So, your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm just gonna be brief. I mean, I haven't seen any of the. I saw a little bit of the first 21 Jump Street, and I didn't see 22 Jump Street. But I did have the idea of like, what if they did make a 23 Jump Street? Like, first film took place about them being in a high school, second one being in college, third one could be like a real actual police job of them not in like faking their identities or anything, but just them being actual cops doing a cop job.
Yeah, sort of like them in like a like a Olympus Has Fallen sort of situation.
Right.
That would be kind of cool, actually. But yeah, for anyone who has not seen 22nd Jump Street, just remember this: the scene. I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but the scene with Channing Tatum, and he has a moment of realization, and you hear sort of like a light bulb turn on. I mean, priceless. Like my whole theater was laughing. But anyway, let's move on to. Move on to the next question here. This is from a user who's been with me for a while. I'm not sure how to say his name. It's like Baggy 2K or something. But what is your favorite ever movie experience? And if you could relive a specific movie experience, what would it be? I would pick Inception and Dark Knight 2008. Okay. Favorite movie experience ever. Shit. I think I'm gonna have to go with probably I think Interstellar. Interstellar and 70 millimeter IMAX was actually a pretty big deal for me because my cousin he came up uh, I think like took him like 8 or 10 hours or something, but he came up to come see Interstellar with me and some friends, and that was like a personal moment for me. But what about you guys?
For me,
My bad, bro.
go ahead, Blackley.
Yeah, I think my favorite movie experience is probably when I went to see Captain America: The Winter Soldier with my mom, cause I got my mom into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, caught her up with everything of what's going on. And another experience is when I saw Dark Knight Rises with my dad and my grandfather,
Nice.
and we just easily connected when we were watching those films. Of course, when I was watching The Winter Soldier, my mom was asking like, who? So like that's his best friend, right? Yep, that's Bucky. That's his best friend. And it just felt so heartwarming. Even after, like the day after we saw Winter Soldier, my mom said I really had a good time. It really brought back memories of us seeing films together. Because the first film me and my mom have ever saw together, just me and her, was the Powerpuff Girls movie back in 2001 or two, if I remember. But yeah, those two moments were my all-time favorite movie experiences.
Nice, man. Nice. I'm liking the it's family related so far, coincidentally. By the way, Jonathan, do you have any headphones by any chance?
Uh, You know what? Nah, I don't. I really don't. I'm trying to save up to get some. I'm trying to get those Sony ones since those are
Okay.
like the cheapest one I could get.
Okay.
So
Just wanted to check. But yeah, Sam, what about you?
For me, definitely up there. One of my favorite movies of all time, and one of my favorite movie experiences. The movie that I watched 10 times, which is The Dark Knight, in the movie theaters.
Bruh.
10 times? Wow.
10 times. Like,
Bruh.
I kid you not, right? I gotta tell you the small backstory, and I'll get to the second movie. The second one,
Yeah.
believe it or not, is actually Avatar. But The Dark Knight for me, the first movie I ever seen, the very first movie I could ever remember was the 1989 Batman. Michael
Damn.
Keaton,
That
Jack
was your first film
Nicholson.
that you watched, like
I
in
know,
theaters?
no, that was the first movie I've ever seen. Period.
Oh, okay.
And for me, like I've always been a Batman fan. I've always loved their portrayals of the characters, and like for them to, reinvent the Joker and the hype behind it. The 2 months before, when they had said that Heath Ledger had knocked it and nailed it into the park, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so anticipating this, and it was like more anticipation than Spider-Man 2 was for me. And I got to the theater and I finished watching the movie and I just sat there and I was like, this is a beautiful movie. I have to go back again. And like, I kid you not, like, I was in love with it. And I mean, it was the first IMAX movie I'd ever seen.
Damn.
Um, the portrayals, the acting, the experience, the immersion, the story. I mean, I became a Christopher Nolan fiend after that. I mean, movies like Inception, Memento, I went back and backtrailed those and stuff like that. But I mean, in and of itself, The Dark Knight solidified that for me. Avatar was a different experience because I was always plagued with the existence of people talking about going into movies back in the day and seeing 3D movies, and I was like, I couldn't get over the different color coded, like glasses they used to have, and then when they kind of had
Yeah,
you.
those back in those days.
And I went to an IMAX presentation, and the glasses were pitch black. And I was thinking, man, this is gonna look like some trash. I was sitting there looking at that theater. I was looking all around like this. I was like, I ain't never seen anything like this. This is an experience, and it still like it had a lasting effect. I think the last time we talked about it in JA Movie News, for me, that was the reason why I bought a 3D TV. That's the reason why I have a 3D collection. That's the reason why I still believe in 3D, because I feel as though that it can be the next step. It's just not there yet. There's been so much up conversion and people cutting corners that it hasn't been used to its full capacity. And I think it's going to eventually get there. But to answer the last part, the experience in a movie sequence is, for me, the movie Face Off. In the movie Face Off with John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, when they are in this sequence where they're behind each other in the mirrors, and they're kind of looking at each other, pointing the gun like right at each other's faces. Like, I would love to be in that sequence. Like, the way that they choreographed that sequence and just the action in that movie, that's always been one of my favorite films because of that sequence like that. And so I think that that'd be one I'd like to be immersed into if I had the opportunity.
Okay. And yeah, like I said, Interstellar for me, just the wormhole sequence I will never forget. I would love to relive that. The wormhole sequence. Never forget, me and my cousin, we literally looked at each other like, but
that was me and Joe, man. We were freaking out at that wormhole sequence, man.
It was crazy, but we got a lot of questions. So the next one is from Frankie, and he asks, what are your thoughts on the announcement that, well, we sort of got into this last time, so we'll have to be a little bit quick with this one, but what are your thoughts on the announcement that Star Wars and Marvel movies will be going on forever? For me, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's just inevitable. It's just inevitable. I mean, there's literally, you could go in any direction, and they're not shitty at the current time. So it's just inevitable for me. But what about you guys?
For me, I think that all things come to an end. But I think they're going to milk that cow dry until people just have no real interest in it. And even then, I think there's still going to be Marvel movies because there's still production of comics. They're working hand in hand, where they are making comics now just to make them films later. Kind of like how they're making books. Books now are basically more movies. Like, each book that comes out eventually becomes a movie. And I think that same expectation goes with the comic book lore as far as TV shows and movies. And because of that, just as long as books and comics are still relevant in that and people still have an interest in them, I don't see why it's going to go anywhere. And even after they're not, like maybe 30 years down the past and we got something totally different, I still think that there's still something be around as far as Marvel is concerned.
For me, well, agreeing with Sam said, all things must come to an end. Like, what they will do, well, not will do, because we got connected with these actors, and they play these iconic character roles so well that they fit the personality of the characters so perfectly. We feel like this is just beginning. Like, they're gonna play these roles forever. Like, people need to understand. Like, of course they have contracts and everything. Contracts like that will end unless they decide to renew it. But then again, they still have, like, they're actual people. They're just playing a character. They're actual human beings that have a life, and like, all things will come to an end for this. Like, we won't always see Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man anymore. We won't see Chris Evans as Captain America anymore. Or all these people that played the Avengers, we may not always see them as who they are anymore. Sooner or later, they're gonna have to change roles and switch actors. So it's not, like Sam said, some people may grow tired of it, but if they keep making Marvel films, that's up to them.
Yeah, and I guess my final thoughts on that would be, look, bruh, James Bond, I can't remember what the last film is. It's like number 20, some shit. But, like, we're talking about just James Bond, who I think just in the last two films has made more than any of the other films in the franchise's history. It's just James Bond. So how far in the future do you think Star Wars and Marvel's going? All right, you don't need to be worried. But anyway, next question is, from Jordan Alford, who asks, have you guys heard about the David Fincher Strangers on a Train Hitchcock remake getting delayed, and would you like to see it if he does decide to make it? I'm not too familiar with what you're talking about. I have like a vague inkling of what you're talking about, but I'm a huge David Fincher fan. I mean, Fight Club, Seven, Zodiac, Social Network, Benjamin Button. I mean, I can go on and on, but huge fan of his work. So, I mean, him doing the Hitchcock remake definitely sounds fascinating. I mean, look what he did with Gone Girl, one of the highest profiting radar films from 2014, I think it was. So, yeah, I would love to see it, but I would love to see anything by him. How about you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. I thought that the next thing he was working on was like a TV series. I think it was like Mindhunter or something like that. But I mean, the dude is such a talented director. I love a lot of his movies. Like even like you said, like The Social Network, Gone Girl. I love both of those, and I think he's even had hands in different TV universes because I think he did a couple episodes for House of Cards. I mean, I remember Seven, like that movie. Wow. But I don't know. I mean, I'd be totally ecstatic for something like that. If he's doing it, then yeah, I'd be all for it. I hadn't heard anything about it though.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, vague mind about David Finch, but if it sounds interesting, I mean, I'll take a look at it, see how it goes, and see where how it steps up.
Okay. I don't know. That's just my general thoughts on it. The next question, unfortunately, Sam, I think you might have been talking about this, but Kiana Davis asks, what are your thoughts about the new Nat Turner movie being the highest bought film from Sundance? Do you think it's a slave revolt movie without a white savior that it's going to do well at the box office? Question mark.
God.
I think Sam, wasn't that the movie you were talking about?
Yeah, it is. It's Nat Parker. Nat Parker, he is actually doing a movie on and basically the movie he wrote the script, he directed it, and the name of the film is The Birth of a Nation. And it got critical acclaim at just a couple Sundances, and it's got the largest payday. It was over 17.5 million that he got pushed back into it. I mean, which rightfully so, because he invested his own money in it. He's starring in it, and even the cast lineup, like he handpicked everybody he wanted. And I mean, I think that I'm proud of the guy. I mean, like being like me and you, Jor-El, like aspiring directors and like perfectionists. You know what I'm saying? To get something like that picked up by a Sundance. Bro, I would be so giddy. And I mean, regardless of the subject matter, regardless where it's going to go, as far as I will give it an opportunity just because of the fact of support, man. Like, I mean, this is a guy that I've seen act in a couple roles that he did decent in, but nothing too thrilling. But, I mean, he could end up coming out the next Ryan Coogler in a lot of respects, or even, like, other acclaimed new directors. And so, I mean, I'm in high support of whatever the movie's going to be about. I don't know, and I'm intrigued to watch it. That's all I know.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know too much about the project. However, Nat Turner's story is something that's been fascinating to me for a long time. It's almost unbelievable. This guy who's strongly religious, sort of like basically just saying "fuck it" one day and just reveling in this incredibly violent revolt. At least from the research I've done, kids being killed, women being killed, men being killed. So, curious to see the film. Wish I knew a little bit more about it, but it's great whenever an independent artist sort of gets that kind of love. I'm sure it was a passion project, so interested to see it though. On one thing, what was the last question you asked? Do you think it's because of slave revolt movie without a white savior that's going to do well at the box office? I think it's probably going to do well, because it's just a good film.
Yeah, yeah, I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Cause I didn't know that they got Jackie Earle in this. They've got Armie Hammer in it, Gabrielle Union in it. They got a decent lineup of people that are notable actors, but it's like it came out of nowhere, and it just. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the look of it. I'll share it with you, but I don't know. I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, same. But yeah, your thoughts on it, Jonathan?
You muted, bro.
Speechless about that though. I mean, this is a predominantly black film, right?
No, it's actually it's multicultural in a sense, but I mean it's about Nat Turner. So it's about like the slave revolt of Nat Turner in a sense. So it's gonna be pretty, rough. But it's got a lot of different actresses and actors in it. It's not just an all black film. It's one of the first. It's not all black film. Surprised by that.
Sure.
They have a good cast here. Looking at this, yeah, they have a pretty good cast.
So.
Yeah. Random side note: isn't Birth of a Nation? Isn't there a KKK film, or at least a film predominantly with the KKK with a similar title? Came out hells ago, like 40s or something. Let me see if I can't find it. But
Yeah, like 1915 or something like that.
yeah, let me see if I can't find.
The war despises friends and destroys families, but that's nothing compared to the anarchy in the black-ruled South after the war. Yeah, there was a movie by that same name in 1915.
Yeah, that's all I kept thinking of. So I was like, why are people like referencing this old ass movie? But anyway, random.
But what are your thoughts, Jonathan, real quick, before we go to the next one?
I don't really have any like last minute comments to say about it. It's by the look of this, it seems like a pretty good film. Good cast, cast lineup, and it can make a lot of money. Probably like I would say it kind of would make like Django Unleashed type of level. I feel like it would be on that kind of level.
Least.
All right. Let's see. Let's get to the next question, which is from Orgery. I think that's how you say it. What do you think about Rian Johnson doing Star Wars? Ironically, there's just a sliver of a new update. I think it was Rian Johnson just sort of solidified the fact that he's shooting it on film. I don't know if there was anything else I'm missing, but either way, Brick and Looper are really big for me from Rian Johnson, especially Brick, because that and a movie called Manic or something, or Maniac, I can't remember. But either way, Brick and that were the first films I saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt in, who is like my favorite actor still currently. And Brick is just a total mindfuck, man, and it's so weirdly funny, and there's parts of it that I'm still not even sure if I understand, but great movie. Same thing with Looper. Just a tremendous film. So him doing Star Wars was just like a swish for me. That's perfect. I think it'll be better than Force Awakens. Easy. Just because Ryan, he's just got he just goes deep on that shit. And he's really good with practical effects too, so yeah, I think it's gonna be better than Force Awakens, personally.
I'm excited for it, dude. Like, I think that he's gonna bring something different to the table that I think is gonna need to take it to the next plateau. And I think that, like, when I looked at Looper, man, it was so unworldly, but it kept it so centralized as far as the dynamics of it. And the science fiction of it, and he did a really good job with that. So I'm just excited to see him do another science fiction film. And like you said, like Joseph Gordon-Levitt, like he's one of my favorite actors as well. I think the dude is amazing, and he's a talented musician as well, which is crazy. But I think that the movie Brick, I really enjoyed that. I think he did a really good job with that. So I mean, for me, I think that it will probably be a better movie than The Force Awakens, but
Mhm.
I don't know if it will make The Force Awakens money. I don't know if that'll ever happen. To be quite honest, but
That's
um,
interesting.
it
Yeah.
has opportunity. It definitely has opportunity, especially based on what we've heard about them kind of delaying it and trying to perfect it and resharpen the
hmm
script. And I don't know about them taking it to film instead of digital. I think that's awesome, but that kind of came out of nowhere. I was really caught off by that. But
Sure.
I guess we'll see how it looks. Was the Force Awakens in digital?
I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they shot. I mean, I don't know how many aspects of the film were shot on film, but I know that they used film for sure on the
Okay,
movie. But I'm not sure like how deep they went with it.
okay.
Um,
Because I don't know
I
if
would.
that'll limit it or not, as far as effects are concerned.
I mean, personally, I would just go digital. Especially for. I mean, digital is just better with like low light situations. But you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are your thoughts, Jonathan, on that?
Um. Well, like you said, like things being delayed, things happen for a reason. So I guess, like you said, he's trying to make this film as perfect as can be. Like, but in a sense, I would say there's no such thing as perfect films. Not everything is perfect. Like, they may be like the best of the best films, just like how Force Awakens broke that record of Avatar. It will be the best of the best films, but like everything has flaws. So if Rian Johnson's directing this movie just to make it as attach it to the level of Force Awakens, and like Sam said, it could probably go above and beyond Force Awakens, then I say yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the box office goes, I mean, for me, like, if an audience thinks that a film is going to be great, even after multiple trailers, I don't think there's a cap you can put on like how much they'll make. I think it's you just don't know. Even though seeing like Force Awakens kind of numbers again just seems almost implausible with the next film, episodically. I mean, but. Um, If people think it looks great, man, you never know. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And I just want to say real quick, because there's not many times for me to talk about Rian Johnson and Looper, without getting into spoilers. The way that he handled Bruce Willis's love, and she never even fucking says a word. She doesn't say one word, and somehow he conveyed like this whole like romantic arc and shit. And I was just like, damn, she never even said anything. That's just great directing, for real. So anyone worried about Rian Johnson, I don't think they should be.
I see a lot of people are asking us, did we talk about BVS yet?
I'm gonna stick with the questions that are in his centralized video.
Yeah,
Um,
I think we spoke about. I think a user brought up BBS in the last user question somewhere. I
it
I
was
think.
the
guess.
last time, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you guys have said your thoughts. I guess I can say my thoughts about BVS for a quick moment. I'll be brief. I mean, I remember what Sam said in one of his videos that he said he's showing all like they're bringing out all these promos just to impress us, and I kind of like that note of what Sam said. But I know these promos are not really kind of yes to just hype up the movie, but people need to stop just looking ahead of the promos and just focus on the film itself. This is like DC's new step forward, new take of what they're trying to do. They're putting together DC's firstborn superheroes together in one film. They're bringing in their first female superhero for the first time, giving her a film debut, and after that, it's supposed to be leading into the Justice League, which has been like most anticipated for years and years to come.
Yeah.
Because and this year, 2016 marks Wonder Woman's 75th anniversary. Next year, her film release next year, and that'll be her 76th anniversary. But this is a big achievement for DC right now because most people right now saying, "Oh my gosh, DC sucks right now. Marvel's all day." I bet you majority of those people they just saying they love Marvel better is because they haven't read no ounce of DC comics or know anything about DC. Period. That's all I'm trying to say.
Sure. Hey, Sam. Right now we are at the 29-minute mark. However, something really weird happened. You want to try to go for one more question?
Yeah. That's fine.
Okay, because there's this guy, Observer Alternative. He was saying that he was the first person to had responded in the question video, and we or I should say, skipped over his question. But the comments are structured weird. But his question sort of feeds into what Jonathan was talking about. So let's just jump into that real quick before we close out. But he was saying, do you think it's possible that Batman vs Superman could be a superhero movie masterpiece of drama, action, and conflict? Question mark.
Oh yeah, I remember that question.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
or do you think it will turn out to be an even bigger, jam-packed, awkward clusterfuck than the Amazing Spider-Man 2, like all the trailers are suggesting?
That's a good question.
Also, does Ben Affleck not look like he is Batman to you? Question mark. He very much seems just like himself in a Batman costume. I guess. Well, I mean, there's really no way to really know. This is just a personal thing, apples and oranges. I mean, for me, at the current time, I'm just really skeptical of Batman vs Superman. I think I feel like they've bitten off more than they can chew. Obviously, the film looks cool, but at the end of the day, who doubted that the film was going to look cool? My issue is, the plot execution. And at the current time, it just seems kind of messy. Seems kind of convoluted. I mean, we got Wonder Woman in there. We also have Batman vs Superman, but we also have them becoming friends at some point, and we also have a version of Doomsday, or maybe different versions, and we have Lex Luthor, and we have implications of Darkseid, and onward and onward and onward. It just seems to be a little bit too. It just seems overstuffed, and it kind of makes me worried. So I'm just skeptical. I'm not really sort of on one side or the other. I'm just very cautiously optimistic. And as far as the Ben Affleck thing goes, look, man, I mean, whether it was Michael Fassbender, whether it was, Christian Bale, like whoever the actor was, when they are Bruce Wayne, they're going to look as themselves as Bruce Wayne. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like Bruce Wayne sort of has this sort of transformative look for the actor to take on, like the Joker. I mean, the actor's going to look like themselves as Bruce Wayne. Like, I mean, I don't know what else to say there. I mean, personally, for me, as far as him in the Batsuit and as far as him as Bruce Wayne, I can totally dig it. I wish I had pulled up some kind of images that show like a side-by comparison of Ben as Bruce or as Batman and kind of like animated versions or combo versions. But man, to me, he looks like Batman. I mean, like he's got that
physique.
Yeah, as Bruce Wayne, he sort of has like that rich playboy, handsome, debonair kind of look down, and then as Batman, he looks like a menacing fucking badass,
Like how when whatchamacallit, George Clooney played Batman, he only played a good Bruce Wayne, not a good Batman. That movie left a bad taste in my mouth.
I'm just saying, I can see where you're coming from, but honestly, I think Ben Affleck might be our best Batman.
Batman yet?
Yeah. What about you guys though?
I'll let Sam speak first because Sam's always the man with plan.
Oh.
Okay. For me, this is my whole thought on it. I'm excited because I'm a Batman fan. I was hoping for something or somebody such as Zack Snyder to be that one to direct this film, not just because he's an action-packed junkie, but he has a way of taking a comic book and taking it to the extreme of making it realistic but keeping it poignant. Is like case in point Watchmen and what he did with that, and even 300. I thought he did an amazing job. Now, I was a big Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man fan. I loved the first two movies. When the third one came out, I realized that what happened was that Sam Raimi just wanted to do Sandman, but then by popular demand, they wanted to siphon all these other things like Venom and tie up Harry's story, when really the movie should have just been about Sandman and Harry Osborn. That's it. True. And he got pressured into it, which is fine. But it became too convoluted. It became such a mess that it goes down as one of the worst Spider-Man films of all time. And so it's like even the good parts about it were just like eradicated, you know. And I think where I keep comparing with Batman vs. Superman, I think about the Avengers. Avengers had a lot of different ways that it could have failed. From just having that many big A-lister casts in it, one, on top of all the different things and the different places that they went in Avengers 1, as well as having Thanos show up as far as showing the Chitauri, showing like the prospect of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like they had a lot of different things become really convoluted and really easy. But they were able to make it work. They were able to work together to bring us a masterpiece in and of itself. There's never going to be an event like Avengers 1. That's why Avengers 2 was lackluster, because it wasn't as gratifying as when Avengers came out. Now, I think that for the DC universe, it needs something like Batman vs. Superman. Should they have just done a Justice League movie instead and kind of just made this one be like the world's finest, just Batman versus Superman, and then add stuff later? I think that's what they were going to do initially, until they got forced into a rush race to compete, you know? And I think that they're going to play it smart, and I think that with them having Suicide Squad and that coming out in the same year, I think that's a great move, because it doesn't have to put all the focus on Batman vs. Superman. They have some time to breathe. I just heard that they're not going to have like a trailer spot for the Super Bowl, which I'm happy about that.
Oh,
because
good.
we've had enough. We've had enough.
We get the message. We pretty much get the message now.
But to me, I'm not just optimistic. I think I'm going to have a great time at the movies. And I'm not really all that worried about it, regardless of what they bring to it, such as having Flash and Cyborg and Aquaman and all these other things that they've kind of spoiled us with as far as the TV spots and all these pictures. But I'll say this, to end this all. Everybody knows about this movie at this point.
Yep.
And to me, that's their best benefit. They have the most unlimited amount of exposure. I think that Star Wars and Batman vs. Superman have unlimited amount of exposure, in that they have the best capacity to catch up to Marvel just because of all that exposure. And that if they fail, it's going to suck. But, you know.
Yeah, I just want to say, if they fail, this is not going to be like some small little blimp. If they fail, this will be a colossal, massive failure. I mean, this, oh my God. That would just like, if you could just imagine just like a giant domino, and like it all doesn't fall properly, and it gets all fucked up. Like seriously, man, they really need to nail this. Nail this, I think. You know, messing up a standalone Superman film, yeah, fine, it's been done many times before. But this, especially with so many eyes on it, man.
Yeah, they cannot mess this up for me. I'm sorry.
I mean, this would be like the Fantastic Four situation, like on steroids. I mean, it would just be terrible, man.
Oh, man, I don't think anybody really cared about the Fantastic Four, all honesty, but that's another story.
No one, not even me. And I had high hopes for that movie, and yet I watched it.
I'm just telling you, if it fails, you gonna remember me saying it's gonna crash and burn, son. It's gonna do everything to. But yeah, I don't know, Jonathan. Did you have any final thoughts before we close out?
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna say this. From as soon as we heard that, from the day of San Diego Comic-Con back in 2013, when that image showed up on the screen and every single person in that room screamed their heads off, we felt the joy and the excitement of seeing both two iconic superheroes together on the big screen. And then from the build-up of saying Ben Affleck is going to be Batman, it's like, oh my gosh, it's the guy from Daredevil. And to now seeing him in the Batsuit, like, oh, he actually seems pretty fit to play Batman. And from when Gal Gadot got called for to play Wonder Woman. From all the moments and all the news that we got from all the actors that we heard were going to be in the film, we were all just despising, disliking the news, and like, what is this going to be? I'm like really bashing the film 100%. And now to see the trailer, I mean, you have doubters of this film, and still have people on the other side that have high hopes for this film. I'm one of the people that have high hopes for this film. I feel like it's gonna be good, and I'm actually listening to what Zack Snyder said. He said Doomsday is not the main threat of this film, and trust me, I actually kind of believe this. Doomsday is an iconic villain, the person that kills Superman. Of course, they would bring in one of the most monstrous villains in the DC universe. But there's no way you would kill Superman on a film like that. If you're gonna bring in a villain, you're gonna bring in the baddest of the bad, and that's Darkseid, which is understandable. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
Sure. I guess just the last little bit is that the whole Ben Affleck doesn't look like Batman in the Batsuit. I mean, honestly, man, I think that people who share that opinion are kind of in the minority, which is not to be taken personally, but seriously. I mean, I think most people at this point are just like, yeah, it's Ben Affleck, but I mean, he looks legit like Batman, and not just like Batman, but like the comic book Batman, you know. So yeah, which is not bad. I mean, hell, I still like Colin Farrell's Alexander and fucking Dead Rotten Tomatoes, but it's whatever. But anyway, I think we're gonna close out right there and use the questions probably on Monday or shortly after. About to sign off. But thanks you guys for all your questions. Let us know your thoughts on these topics down below. And yeah, that's it.
Later, you guys. Peace.
Peace.